I think I heard Frost talking about on the analyst desk, like instead of locking into Leona as your second pick, maybe grab yourself the Lee Sin, save your mid lane pick for a little bit later on. That would be my best bet here for the Mad Lions.
Well, you got that one correct, but surely that hands over the Ezreal now. That has to be the combo that G2 would want to run.
Well, I thought they were going to pick the Ezreal and the Lee Sin, but if they want to give over the Ezreal, I suppose that's fair game for them. Then I'm wondering, what do they actually pair next to it? Like, the Misfortune is an option for them that got banned out by them in the second phase here. It's the Kai'Sa! Oh, okay, wait, this is actually really cool. So the Kai'Sa has certainly fallen off in priority to, the glory days in 2019 with this champion. But next to the Nautilus, she can hyper-stack her passive early on in the lane phase and put down some damage. This is also a duo that I feel like you want to put a strong roaming mid laner next to try and find plays and collapse down and dive the spot lane.
So LeBlanc is an option. It's Humanoid in the mid lane. Kiana is another option, something he's played a lot. I want to see what these phase 2 bans are going to be from G2 and Mad Lions. But one thing I noticed in comparison to game 1, the rapidity or the speed of the players locking in their champions is significantly quicker. So it feels to me as though G2 have a little bit of a plan, like that Trundle Ezreal rotation, Kai'Sa as an answer. I like trying to play a little bit of a metagame and reading into that, because when you sit you do draft prep, you look at the other team, you look at what your draft is, and you go, what would they want to play? What would I expect to see them play? And we can see there's the LeBlanc already banned away, as well as the Azir.
Yeah, and when you've played 6 games in the last 2 weeks against the same team, which these teams have, you tend to pick up on some patterns, so both teams know exactly what the other team is looking to go for here. It seems like each team has an idea, and I like what we are seeing, the shift from Mad Lions now. I would expect to see a Rome on a Maokai in this game. I don't want to see him go back to the Gangplank. I think he needs to be on a top laner that can TP down to fight. So the Aatrox was another one that did get banned away. Renekton is technically still up and is a flex pick for the Mad Lions, but if they want to go super back to basics, they can lock in a Maokai for a Rome, accept a really tough matchup in the top lane, and then look to play strictly through bottom mid.
Well, is your Maokai. There was a Malphite hover, and I'm like, I don't think this is a Malphite game. But I like the let's say the taunt or the idea, of course, because of how Bwipo played against it. So what is the answers now? If you've got a Maokai top, does one to just go tank for tank, or does he go real bold and play something that can cut it down?
I mean, I would love to see something now for G2 that can play side lanes. Like, a Fiora would be really crazy and out there if Wunder really wanted to go for the isolated 1v1. It looks like it's going to be a Cassiopeia in the mid lane too, which gives it pairs super nicely. Wait a second.
Do it. They won't. There's no way. But Vayne top with Ezreal bot, and then Yuumi that could literally buff up any of those players going in. I played with the idea for a second, but it's going to be moving away. And I think is likely going to end up being a tank in this top lane. That would be the safe answer. And then Humanoid now has to lock in his pick. So there is still some roaming available. Kiana would be the most obvious bet. It is a champion that he has played 3 times this split. It has been banned against Mad Lions repeatedly because of Humanoid's strength on that champion. And we'll see whether or not that's going to be the final lock-in.
So, Trevor, we got the Cho'Gath up in the top lane too. This is a champion.
I'm not excited.
No, I think Cho'Gath is really so Cho'Gath by himself, not the craziest pick. Cho'Gath with a Yuumi, all of a sudden this guy can run down targets. So Yuumi pairs very nicely with all of these champions, whether she wants to enable the front lines to close the gap. Now Cho'Gath is seeing a Kiana on the other side too. There's 4 melee champions and a relatively low range marksman in the Kai'Sa as well. Cho'Gath with his silence, with the Chomp is going to have really high value in a game like this, and I feel like it's actually pretty hard for a Kiana to play into a Cho'Gath, because if he has his cooldowns up and she dashes in, all of a sudden you're silenced and you can't go anywhere.
Okay, that'll actually be a lot more fun. You've sold me. I was not excited about tank v tank. Let's talk a little bit about the Mad Lions composition as a 5-man. Obviously, we want to see the roaming from Kiana. That's going to be an option.
Yes. So the thing with Mad Lions is the play for them has to be attack mid lane first. I feel where you have you see a Yuumi on the other side, you have a Nautilus, you can find roaming plays, you can attack through mid. When you have a Lee Sin and a Kiana versus a Cassiopeia, like, attack that point on the map first, then you unlock your Kiana to be able to impact side lanes.
Okay, I also like the dive potential. Lee Sin, Kiana, Kai'Sa all have the ability to chase and go in, especially if Nautilus throws down his ultimate, sets some sort of charge out and sets them down. Mad Lions, they chose red side once again. They lost game 1 after not being able to really execute on what the plays they wanted to pull off were, and let's find out if Mad Lions can even the series. And welcome back to Summoner's Rift. I'm joined once again by Ender as we set ourselves up for game number 2. And the first thing that I really want to draw some attention to is the changes from game 1 to 2. We've seen slightly different draft. And I want to talk about how Mad Lions execute this game comparatively to game number 1. And one of the things that's going to start by is these early game plays have to work out a little bit better. You know, Arome walking up to the top lane and just conceding death. Kazi and Kaiser getting shut down in the bot lane. But I think the risk of that is going to be lower because Jankos and Trundle not quite the same ganking monster that Lee Sin can be.
No, for sure. This is a game where Shadow could maybe have a little bit more fun, but really, as a team, Mad Lions just need, like, there's two things I'm looking at. One is the full reset, right? Like, you had the mistake with the bot lane pushing too far forward without vision. That you need to write off. The Arome thing, yes, get rid of those, but also decisiveness, because if you are not 100% committed to a play against G2, you are going to get punished, and that we saw a couple times in the early game, and that's what spun the game out of control, you know? The last time these two teams faced off in the full best of 5 that went the full distance, it was a series of pixels, right? Like every single game was so close, every single fight was so close, where it's just one extra player surviving, or it's multiple members on flashing HP. Even Caps pressing W on the Ziggs, if he doesn't do that when he's on the Nexus, maybe that's a game win right there for G2. So Mad Lions need the full reset and need to commit 100%, get that confidence back to be able to get into these fights where it can look even between the two teams.
Definitely the case. And that first trade there, Kaiser gets the dredge line. Caps already throws out that barrier to put it on cooldown, and HP bar is relative even for that, but Summoner Spell advantage to the Mad Lions. I think we will have a moment or two, and if the viewers will forgive me, I just want to take you on a walk down memory lane really quickly. I want to talk about Humanoid, because this is a guy that made it to Worlds last year with a bunch of veteran names. Xerxes, Kobe, you know, Vizichach, these guys have been around the block. Splice surprised a lot of people. They almost topped their group in the group stage. And then we move on to, the 2020 season, and he gets surrounded by a bunch of rookies. Players that we didn't really know what to expect. There was more hype around Rogue. We were more surprised by Misfits. And here he is, battling for 3rd place, potentially a spot in finals, as the only consistent member. Now we've got just enough time to get that story out as the Mad Lions are making their first play. The rookies, the young guys, jumping up onto Wonder, and this will be first blood. And it actually fits our story beautifully. Beautifully.
Yes,
Shadow
sir,
gets
it does.
an advantage.
Yeah, Shadow plays that one perfectly right there too, landing the excellent Q. But, I mean, to go back to what you're saying, right? Like, when you hear that Xerxes is going to Origin, when you hear Vizichachi's retiring, when you hear that Kabi is joining TSM, that sounds like the death of an organization. That sounds like the death of a team. But Mad Lions were able to find the 4, like, sort of perfect rookies. And while in the offseason, I think Karzi and Kaiser gained a lot of attention, a lot of teams were considering picking them up. We just saw there Shadow with the early plays being one of the big standout players right next to Humanoid. Now he looks for another play.
Yeah, absolutely the case. Oh, I lost my Phoenix.
Man.
No, nicely done. And of course, that's a reply. Humanoid is on the board. And this will actually set us up for the follow-up point, because now Humanoid on the Kion is probably my favorite champion. When I think of Humanoid, this is like his signature pick to me. 3-0 in the regular season, 32% kill participation, and this was one of the champions that in draft, you were talking about how we wanted to see him on a roaming pick, and this was one of the champs that can do that.
Yeah, we were actually joking before the show started today that when Humanoid went to Worlds last year, he sort of downloaded some of the plays that Doinby was running, right? He's got the mid lane Kiana. Won't have the Predator this time around, but has a similar idea. And this is what I was saying, attack mid lane first here for Shadow. We can get Humanoid this an advantage. It's a very nice play where they layer the CC to enable Shadow to be able to land that Q with ease. And even though he is traded off in the end, it does mean that Perkz loses out on a lot of experience just being around those minions there. So Humanoid should be able to impact, and now that there's no flash on Perkz, we could see even Kaiser reset and path back towards mid lane to try and punish that.
And of course, a lot of this all set up by Shadow. Shadow, one of the hugely influential members of what helped Mad Lions win in game the first time these two teams met. His gank up in the top lane allowed Arome to pick up that assist, and this Wunder versus Arome matchup, we saw another little bit of pressure there back and forth, but it is one of the players, one of the champions that I want to see how it works out. If this game goes an even footing into the mid game, you've already talked about how strong Cho'Gath can be.
Yeah, and actually, Shadow's down here towards the bottom side. They're just going to look for the 2v2 as Kaiser flashes in.
Well, there's the flash bonk onto Caps' head. Kaiser gets the root. Not enough for the kill just yet. Flash still available to Ezreal, but 3 summoner spells blown just for the ignites.
Man, Shadow's just trying to take over this entire game. It's a complete departure from the Olaf. It was a snooze fest in game 1. He was pretty much just farming. Jankos was all over the map. No, now it is Shadow's turn on his signature Lee Sin pick to attack top lane, then mid lane, then bot lane. Now he's on an objective, and this is what I was trying to get at, is there are very few junglers in the LEC that can be more active than Jankos in the early game, and Shadow is doing exactly that so far.
Oh, very nicely done. First Dragon picked up, the Ocean as well. Infernal will be next. We've got either a Mountain or a Cloud Rift coming our way. Cloud Rift again could be very valuable for both squads as Wunder and Arome trading back and forth. Feast is available for
Yes,
Wunder.
sir!
And
Bye-bye! He just ate him!
Have enough time! I was just going to say it.
Ate the man up there in the top lane. It's hilarious, too, because I wanted to bring up this matchup, but there was too many other things happening on the map.
I tried to set you up.
I know. This isn't your run-of-the-mill tank top lane Cho'Gath. This is going to be the AP Cho'Gath, but we don't stop the action. There's teleports bot lane. Kaiser's looking for a move.
Okay, Nature's Grasp is available for Arome. It's going to have to be a tower dive, but that flash that was not used earlier is what saves Caps' life. Arome loses the TP.
Oh,
he
man.
loses a gigantic wave of minions up in the top lane as well. He's already behind, and this is just a very good play from G2. They get the solo kill top, and the flash saves them bottom.
Yeah, but Mad Lions are just trying to go, full steam ahead right now. Romeo's struggling up top side, so they look for a play now mid side. As here we go, personal 1v3.
Very nice Petrifying Gaze. Will stop Humanoid, but will not stop the support. Shadow and Arome rock up, and Shadow gets his second kill of the game. Just again, Shadow has been everywhere, and he's making Mad Lions lead.
Yeah, Shadow just can't be stopped on his Lee Sin. Don't let the man have the pick, or he is going to run over the entire game. You can see the stats here on the Lee Sin. Like, yeah, he's lost a couple games, but in every single game, he looks good, right? He finds the picks in the fights. His early game impact, you cannot deny it even a little bit. But to sort of zoom out for a second here, like the last 2 minutes, we saw Arome get solo killed in the top lane, and then he just leaves. He's done. He doesn't want anything to do with it, and that sort of sums him up as a player. He's never looking to beat you in lane. He's going to lane, but really he wants to impact the rest of the map with the teleports. When the TP bot didn't work, he ran into mid lane with Shadow too, and was able to fight back just a little bit.
Yeah, and of course on a champion like Maokai with all of the CC, and then Lee Sin, Qiyana, Kai'Sa to activate and enable, I don't see why not. That is exactly what we want to see happen. Now Arome will have that support. This is what we talked about, playing with the team. The team's going to come to him. If Arome can't get away from the lane, Nature's Grasp. So
awkward. So Humanoid was there before Shadow and Kaiser. Arome's like, hey, let's go for the dive. No one else wanted it, but Shadow finds the inset kick, and now Kaiser's here to finish off Perkz.
No Petrifying Gaze available, and Perkz will go down. It wasn't the target they were setting up for, but they managed to find themselves a kill. And Mad Lions are 1,000 gold up. Now, I wanna step back and just start to ask a question, right? I like how Mad Lions are playing the game. I just don't like what they are doing specifically. And I think it could be a sentiment of the rookies. This is the highest pressure game that 4 out of 5 of these players have likely ever played. Now, there's slightly less pressure because we're not in a stadium filled with thousands of fans. But let's not forget the fact that they are up against G2. They've eliminated G2 or beaten them at least once from the upper bracket just earlier in the playoff rotation. And these little hiccups, I think could be attributed to that nature, or at least partially so.
I mean, this is a team, like, I definitely agree, right? There is immense pressure on these players right now, but Mad Lions have also just been a relatively inconsistent team. Even G2 is inconsistent, and that's why you see these super bloody games between the two, is because Mad Lions are extremely confident. We have 10 players on the Rift that are constantly trying to push the boundaries of what their champions can do, so we're going to see a lot of scrappy fights. We're gonna see people look like they're just making mistakes by overextending, but it's because because they truly believe that they can outplay, and that's almost what makes these games even more fun than your average run-of-the-mill matches.
It really does. Perks, by the way, 0-3-1 on his Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia has been a pick for him that he's pulled out. He wants to deliver a step-up performance and may be asked to do so. Mad Lions maintain a gold lead, maintain a kill lead, maintain control of the Ocean Drake. So it's a very strong 10 minutes for this team. And we're seeing this movement around. Arome pushing the bottom lane solo. Humanoid is now going to have to catch the top wave, it looks like. No TPs available. We'll lose some damage in that top lane tower. And Kazi is now moved mid. So this isn't a traditional sort of, swap for Herald. So what do you think Lions' plan is?
No, so Lions already took the Rift Herald. Now they're actually
That's
setting
why.
up because Infernal is in 20 seconds, so they're back towards the bottom side of the map. They can drop the Herald down here and secure the tower. And on the flip side, while Mad Lions are making a lot of the right decisions to be able to pick up the objectives, when G2 start losing, they just start to give you a lot and say we will trade on the opposite side of the map. So G2 are still coming out of this trade lower than Mad Lions overall, but maybe even more as Kaiser continues to find these beautiful dredge lines on towards Perks and give them even a little bit more control around that center part of the map.
Yeah, it looked like Jankos was keeping Humanoid busy, and that prevented the engage onto Perks from Humanoid's side. But nevertheless, as you mentioned, this is the trade. Tower down in the bottom lane secured. That's the first one, and all the plates. Arome is going to be able to arrive in time to defend the top lane tower. Is threatening and engage.
Wait a second.
He's going to look for the chase while that's going on. Second dragon is picked up. This will get the TP, but now will it cost Arome his life?
Yes, it will.
And Frozen Hose
That's Glacial
comes out.
Augment Cho'Gath.
Oh my word, the feast will come up in just a moment or two. Arome's going to step forward. Sap Magic buys some time. Rupture and Feast. Absolutely not worth, my friend. Now Humanoid's in trouble. Jankos continues to chase him down. Took a lot of damage from the Subjugate Chomp, but Humanoid escapes with his life.
Yeah, a little bit of a fight back here from G2. As you can see, some of the mistakes Mad Lions make, right? Arome's like, hey, dude, I can 1v1 Caps. Doesn't necessarily respect the teleport that Wunder can enter back up in towards that top lane. So another mistake here from Arome that gives G2 a lead as Wunder with the Glacial Augment going to try to slow down Kaiser and escape. But this is the champion of the game, Trevor. It's AP Cho'Gath in the top, and I love it because you rock the Glacial Augment, you go for the Hextech GLP as your first item, you're going to get the Spooky Ghost as your second, and what that means is that you can get on any target instantly. Now, Wunder doesn't have Feast, so the solo kill isn't going to be there, but Caps and Jankos are here, and so is Perks.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Kaiser's now going to get cut down in the river. I'm looking up towards Kazi. He's going to get caught by the Rupture. I think he was caught by the Feral Scream as well. Summoner Heal comes out, and defensive flash from Wunder. That's a double kill for Caps, but Wunder does his job. It may not be over just yet as Jankos will find Shadow. And just as Mad Lions had accrued themselves a lead, a series of mistakes allows G2 to come back into it. The Pillar of Ice comes down, and Shadow will ward hop to safety.
Yeah, Mad Lions have started cracking. You know, all those early plays were working out super well, so they had the confidence. They're stepping forward, but they're not keeping track of where G2 can be on the map. There's so many control wards around that top river inside the jungle that Mad Lions don't necessarily know that G2 are approaching. Still, they step forward, and as the map starts to spread out, Mad Lions trying to play all three lanes, that is when they are going to start making these mistakes, and they have to rally up. They have to stop doing this, because right now you have Karzi and Kaiser pushed up in the lane. You know, Kaiser down in the river. Where's Lee Sin? Where's Maokai? Where's the rest of your teammates? They are not there, and no one on the G2 team is showing on the mini-map either before that play starts, so that's just another mistake by the Mad Lions bot lane where they do not respect the ability for G2 to be there and to punish them.
All right, Humanoid, my eyes are going to keep coming back to you. For the time being, I feel like the rest of the squad has done a lot as Humanoid will get some damage.
Whoa.
Goes in with a supreme display of talent. Not enough to kill Caps, but will there be enough from the rest of the squad? Kaiser's locked down from the Yuumi ultimate, and Jankos will throw the Pillar of Ice. Flash is still available for the Nautilus, and he gets out of the grounding. Mad Lions escape after blowing a few summoner spells. G2 Esports will pick up their first tower of the game. Fiendish Codex has been picked up to complement the Frozen Hose. And for the time being, I just think Mad Lions, individually, they've been caught out too many times over the last two games, and they have to stop that from happening. You cannot give G2 those quote-unquote free kills because they are using it so well.
It's weird too, right? Because Mad Lions, they're trying to get picks themselves, yet they are too far forward, and their team isn't all there ready to back them up, right? Like, Humanoid was trying to find the pick onto Caps, but wherever Caps is, he's going to have Mickey there as well. So that's not a 1v1. He's not able to get all the burst damage down. There's a Mikhails on Mickey now, too, so killing Caps is not going to be really within the realms of possibility for Mad Lions anytime soon, especially now that Humanoid doesn't have the flash, so actually accessing the G2 backline is going to be so much harder. And when we get into these 5v5s, probably in a minute when the third Drake of the game does spawn, this Cho'Gath pick is going to be an absolute terror. The zone control he provides, both with his Rupture, the Q, as well as, you know, the Snow Hose, as you so lovingly called it there, with that Cho'Gath build. Like, it's hard to team fight 4 melees into that champion, let alone into a Cassiopeia with your Miasma, a Yuumi that can kite back so well. It's not going to be easy for Mad Lions.
I always call it the Frozen Hose because I can't remember the actual name. I think it's like GLP 600 or something like that. But nevertheless, let's jump into the fight. True Shot Barrage comes out. Not going to be able to find a kill just yet. Already, Perkz is down. His 4th of the game. Mad Lions are winning the team fight. They have been able to dominate this one. That's 1, 2, 3 kills eventually. And it is Shadow that is picking up a lot. 4, 1, and 3. Humanoid's Duskblade of Drakthar was completed previously, and that is exactly what Mad Lions wanted. They have been in control of the game on a statistical standpoint for most of it, but the kills that they have conceded have allowed it to feel like G2 were playing well.
Look, Shadow just deserves a raise after this game's performance. The early game plays, here's like, hey, team fighting isn't actually that hard if you just land a sick kick onto Caps, or it was, I believe, yeah, it's Caps here. No, it's Perkz. He gets the Warthog behind him. Perkz didn't quite see that as a possibility. He gets punished super, super hard, so it didn't even matter that Humanoid didn't get a ton of damage down in that team fight because they singled out Perkz right off the bat, and then Caps has to step far back because this Ezreal doesn't have the items to deal out the insane damage. It's not the Vayne that we saw in the last game. Mad Lions, with this mid-game spiking comp, are going to be able to punish when they get the jump on G2.
2 Dragon advantage, nearly 2,000 gold lead. And Shadow on Lee Sin is a monster. The second, or correction, third tower here will be taken out, as Shelly will get herself a little boop on the outer tower, looking at the mid lane. There's only 2 members, or 2.5 members, as Mickey is flying with Caps to defend. Rift Herald will get a secondary charge, but not be able to secure the next tower. So, getting close to that third dragon. Soul Point is a little bit away because, of course, G2 were able to pick up a dragon during the course of the early stages. How do Mad Lions advance this lead further?
Well, I mean, it's going to come down to how they can sort of activate all their engaged tools, right? You have the Qiyana, Lee Sin, all these players can make plays happen, so then you need to get vision inside the enemy jungle. The fight should be breaking out inside the jungle, not in mid lane, not in bot lane, none of these random things. No, it's going to be playing to get pressure down, so that means pushing out all 3 lanes, then collapsing in and making G2 get punished for any sort of positional mistakes that they do end up making. Until the next Drake spawns, we're not going to have some sort of central point for them to fight over, so Mad Lions, it's all about pressure, stealing away jungle camps, and any kills they can pick up in the process.
I'm looking at warding then to try and make those jungle camps easier. A lot of defensive vision on the G2 side around that mid lane. A couple of those pink wards, as the observers are highlighting. Thank you so much. And I think Mad Lions, they got a little bit of deep vision inside the southern quadrant of the jungle. But I want to see what they do with that. A number of wards in the inventory, but still, it's 3 minutes until the next Drake. Minutes and a half until Baron. Still a little early for that anyway. So we might just be in for a wave catching game. And then I put my thinking cap on and go, right, can Mad Lions stop making those positional errors? Because imagine what this game would look like if they didn't give up a bunch of kills to G2 just by being caught out of position.
They'd have a even more sizable lead, you'd have to assume. But, hey, this is where I think you say catch waves. Mad Lions aren't going to catch waves. Mad Lions are going to constantly look for fights, and G2 are going to be catching waves. G2 need to slow things down, get some time back to, you know, build their items off. You know, they're stacking up their tiers. 1 is already done here. But where things are going to become problematic for them is when Humanoid bases, I think he needs to pick up the Umbral Glaive as his next lethality item. He has the, you know, the components for that one, because once you get that, sweeping away enemy vision becomes so much easier. When the map is dark and you're playing against a Qiyana, against a Nautilus, like all these picks, it becomes really hard to play the game, especially because G2 don't necessarily have the ability to just like run in face first. You know, they're gonna need to bring Wonder up. He pops the Spooky Ghost. That's how you sort of scout in Vision. You shoot Ezreal rockets on in there. These types of things to try and get Vision back. But if Humanoid can just remove Vision from the equation, find good flanks into the backline, it doesn't matter if Caps has a million dashes. He's still gonna go down.
Yeah, when map is dark and full of terrors when there's no Vision available. G2 have grouped themselves up. 4 members in the mid lane, teleport available for Wonder. So if any shenanigans break out, he would be able to join. I'm waiting to see if Humanoid has enough gold to purchase, and he does. So we'll be able to reset back on the map. Let's take a moment to talk about perks. 0, 4, and 1. 190 CS at 20 minutes, so he's still farming very well. But Shadow, as well as some roams from Kai'Sa and Arome, put a lot of pressure on him, which is where the deaths come from. But you have to call out he's farming well. So, you know, how does Perkz bring himself back into this game?
Yeah, well, I mean, you said it there. Just keep farming up the best you can, because it's not like he's going to somehow find, like, the miracle 1v1 against Qiyana. There's nothing he can do outside of the team fights to really propel himself back in. It's going to come down to how he can position properly and those crucial ultimates, because when you see so many targets trying to dive onto you, as Cassiopeia, when you have that ulti that's so effective at self-healing, it needs to be able to hit multiple targets, it needs to be able to buy you space, and then, even if you are lower in terms of itemization against the Qiyana, which, with this amount of CS, I don't think he's actually that far behind, if anything, then you're going to be able to turn around as long as you can create distance against those divers.
Now for me, the next few minutes is crucial here. Mad Lions have proven that they are contenders for the title by defeating G2 Esports at least once. But now we need to see them not only play competitively, pick up games, maybe even beat G2 this series, to prove it wasn't a fluke. There's been so much discussion on how Mad played fantastic and G2 played poorly. But I have been relatively impressed with what I've seen from Mad as a team. Again, they're 5v5, their macro play is strong. Individual mistakes across games 1 and 2 have hurt them, no doubt about it. Now they've got themselves in a lead, they've got themselves a potential here, and unfortunately, again, Kai'Sa just out of position, he gets chomped down. All of the CC from Cho'Gath just allows them to chase, grounding on Arome. The ultimate did nothing from Maokai. The rupture prevents Shadow escaping, and G2 Esports are chasing for more. Caster Curse strikes at the most opportune moments as the exhaust comes down onto Humanoid. He's trying to do something. My word, he does a lot of damage, but he just doesn't have enough. It's a 4-for-1 in favor of G2.
It's the same point on the map, though, that Mad Lions tried to take a fight last game, and they get punished again. That corridor against all these, you know, zoning tools, area of effect abilities, it's so hard for Mad Lions to pick up any ground, especially with, you know, Kai'Sa getting caught off right at the start. It comes down to the decisiveness once more, where G2 go in a straight line at one target, and Mad Lions themselves have to be split up in this fight. So you can see the value of the Cho'Gath right here. Forces Shadow to dash away. The slow fields on the ground makes it that Humanoid can't get in. Even with the ultimate that hits all 5 members of G2, they can't go forward. The front line of G2 is simply way too beefy. So Carzzy can't actually auto-attack the front line. He's on full runaway duty, and with the Yuumi, G2 just will not slow down either. They're going to go straight underneath those towers and look for all the dives they possibly can.
Oh man, I was so unimpressed by Cho'Gath and Vixen Bans.
No.
I couldn't have been more wrong.
I was so excited.
I know, I'm owning this, dude. I agree. I have learned my lesson. I will no longer critique Cho'Gath. I apologize to all Cho'Gath mains and Wonder in particular. But his 4-2 and 4, the Spooky Ghosts, the Frozen Hose, the amount of CC he offers with the Rupture on the Feral Scream, like, it is incredibly difficult to play short-range champions into this Cho'Gath.
Oh no, Wonder still has ultimate too. He can just one-shot Shadow, by the way.
Yep, and he just did. Gets himself another 5-2 and 4. There's no support, or no challenge rather, on this Baron. 23.5 minutes in. Mad Lions have had the lead for long periods of this game, but the crucial moments that matter most is where G2 is delivering.
Yeah, G2 are just the expert team fighters, right? You know, there's so many things that G2 do well. You talk about their early game, how they can execute in the mid game too. But one thing is that even in close games, they seem like they can always spin it right back around on you. They have a beautiful draft to be able to set themselves up for the 5 versus 5. And when they see a move, when they see a fight emerging, they instantly act on that one. So that's what happened around the last Mountain Drake, and they're only going to continue to get stronger and stronger, because now you've got 2 Mountain Drakes, which is fantastic fantastic for their comp. It's going to be super buffing up this Trundle when he presses R.
Yes.
But also, when you see Humanoid building lethality items, even the minimal amounts of armor that Caps and Perks are going to be getting, since they're not actually stacking that, well, that's going to make lethality near useless on this Qiyana, especially now that Perks has himself a Seeker's Arm Guard too. This Humanoid on this Qiyana pick is not going to be able to cut through that and the Yuumi healing on the back line.
No, not at all. A lot more of a team game here from the G2 Esports squad. Multiple lanes.
Shadow!
Pressure. Shadow tried to find an opportunity, but Caps was easily able to escape that one. J-Singler lost, maybe it hoped to get the kick onto Caps, sending into the Mad Lions squad. Now in a 5 versus 4. Actually, with Baron empowered, this is going to melt. There's simply no way that the Mad Lions can stop this push. Look, they're piecing out, they're running away. Humanoid has decided to play PvE. He's pushing the mid lane. He cannot get back here in time. G2, are they going to push for the win? They're
G2
gonna push
are
for the win.
absolutely going for the win here. Humanoid did this in the last game too. He just gave up as his team was losing the Nexus. Now he's frantically trying to recall and get back into the base, but G2 will not be they still have the minions here. Wonder gonna have his ult soon. He's just gonna kill Carzzy on the fountain here.
Unbelievable! Rupture on the steps into the Feral Scream. That's another Rupture again, plus the poison, and G2 Esports style to finish against Mad Lions. They will delay the final push until the Nexus finally goes down. G2 Esports are 1 win away from facing Fnatic in finals. I have to be honest, I'm left disappointed in the ending of that game. At 20 minutes, I was bought in. I'm like, Mad Lions, I'm on the hype train. I see you guys have built up a lead. And literally, as I say that story, they lose 4 members in the mid lane, and then that leads to losing Baron. Like, it's so small, the mistakes, but so big, the punishes.
No, it absolutely is, and I think that Mad Lions, they've had windows, like every early game seems like it's going all right, even though they are making mistakes, but it comes down to the nature of their comps as well. I feel like maybe the windows in which they actually can win are shorter than what G2 brought in there with the scaling of the Cassiopeia, the Ezreal, the Cho'Gath, an incredible scaling pick as well. So as soon as you make those mistakes and give more time over, G2 is going to run through you, and now G2 is looking to make a statement with the 3-0 against Mad.
Yeah, they really do. Coming up next, Law is joined by Origin's Destiny, and G2 have got their eyes set on that fight with Fnatic. We'll be right back.